And that was such a rush. That's what I love about it. It's, you think something is unachievable, unrealistic, right? When somebody comes in and says, Lance, I want you to fix 1,000 roofs in a week. Can you do it?
I'll get it done.
I'll get it done. Perfect.
I'm going to get it done. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you got to get it done. And listen, you'll figure out a way to get it done.
Yes.
There's a solution for every problem. It's a matter, are you the solution finder?
Exactly.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Service Titan and Rilla, our technology of choice to helping us scale and grow our business and making sure all of our viewers have the technology to scale their business so when they want to sell it, they're able to. Welcome to the Roofing CEO Playbook podcast. Build it to sell it. We're here to cut through the noise, all the rhetoric, to show you how to build your roofing business, make it profitable, where you make a boat ton of money. And the cherry on top, when you're ready to sell, you can sell to a private equity firm and change your family's life. I'm sitting here today with Alex Goldovsky, owns multiple businesses, got the pleasure of meeting you on a panel with your son at Penn State, speaking. Entrepreneur, successful, got a lot of things in common, both went to Temple, first cars were Ford. Appreciate being at the farm here today. Alex, tell everybody what you do, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things here today, especially business, but tell them what you do.
Yeah, good question, and great to be here. So I own 3 businesses. I'm a CEO of 3 businesses and probably looking to acquire more. First is I own ProTitle USA, which is the nationwide tax and title and diligence provider for Wall Street and government. We have contracts with Freddie Mac, FDIC. Whenever a bank fails, we go and take over the bank. Second business is a business I acquired in 2021 called Dock Solution USA with revenue over $20 million. Down in Houston with about 80 people there. And third business is AI business, machine learning AI business called One Diligence. We're rated by all rating agencies like Fitch, S&P, and Moody's, and we look at the loan files. So all 3 businesses are tied as the service providers for the banking and finance.
So you love the banking financing sector. Can you tell the people what? 'Cause that's a different model, right? Like the banking sector and the finance sector is a hard one to figure out, and you better be real good at it. You're going to lose your pants. It isn't like going and buying properties. Right. It isn't like doing a small little HVAC. They're difficult too, employment. But you're in a serious business of you'll get your lunch eaten real fast.
Yeah, you got to have things buttoned up. Not only you have to have SOC 1, SOC 2 certifications for your servers, you have to have all the policies and procedures and guidelines. Your staff has to be buttoned up. You have to be 24/7 on the phone with clients calling and asking for questions. You have to have your sales pitches, marketing and sales done in a way where it's easy to understand what you do. But you're right, we're dealing with sharks. Our clients are Goldman or Morgan Stanley or Nomura. Those guys don't mess around. One screw up and you're done. For us, quality is the key for all the businesses. If you miss the quality, then you lose the business.
I mean, you're good looking, you speak well, but the CEO, you're not the one selling this. How do you get in a room with these people? Because that's like, people are watching right now, they're going to say, all right, well, if I want to get into the room, I like that question because I do believe being in the room with the right people. So how are you getting in the room with these people that are making the decisions?
Good question. So first of all, I do close major sales. I get involved because I'm so passionate about it. Okay. I love this stuff.
Okay.
I'm so obsessed with knowing every nut and bolt of the business, how to sell against the competition. I know who clients use and how to beat them in their own game.
Okay.
So I come in as weaponized as I can about, how do I win this client? I'm obsessed about it. So that's perfectionism in me. But I hire salespeople. Salespeople run around either on the rev share or they're on commissions or it's word of mouth, right? So I learned very early that for my business, banking and finance, you can either sell things online, which is a commodity product, or you go straight to the corporate decision makers. And that's where the money is in banking and finance. Those guys have a lot of expense. They have a lot of problems. And until you understand the pain of each client, and they're all different. Not a single client is the same, all different. You solve for the pain. So you understand the pain and you build a product to solve it.
So you're building custom solutions for your clients. pretty much,
Absolutely.
Every
Yes.
time.
Every time.
So you have a little different. So you're more of, even though you're doing big revenue and have a massive business, everything's a custom solution, which cannot be easy because, that becomes hard when you're building custom solutions for every single client.
Unless you have Lego blocks.
Okay.
Right? When you start putting the Legos together, it seems like a custom solution for every client, but believe it or not, their pain points are the same.
Okay.
Right? So you approach it with the way, I understand your pain, and I have a solution, and this is what we have today, and we can customize it for you. Yes, it's a very expensive way to approach the business, but I always thought that it's very, very difficult to sell a commodity product. Very difficult, unless you have a commodity product with a bow on top and a cherry on top, like a cake, that the client will absolutely love every time it sees it. That's the sale. That's what makes a sale.
Do you think that same sales process, I'm just asking you because I'm obviously I'm in the roofing space now, I have multiple roofing.
Yeah.
Do you think that's transferable, that skill set into the roofing space, commercial, residential roofing?
Yeah, I think so. So roofing business is tough, right? As I can imagine. There's 20 companies out there all fighting for the same client who has a roof hole in the roof, right? How are you different from them? Maybe you have a warranty or insurance. Maybe it's a 5-year insurance. Maybe you say, not only I'll fix the roof for you, I'll do something else for you. What if, you carry the teams that will do it in, 24 hours?
Yeah.
Maybe that's time is a
Absolutely.
value, right?
100%.
Maybe the material is different. Maybe you have access to something so custom that they say, oh yeah, I definitely want you. And everybody speaks very highly of you on the internet, right? So online presence, being known for being the most, precision at work, lowest cost, or at least the affordable cost. You don't have to be the cheapest one, right? In my case, I have to compete against India. People in India receive, their salary is $3 to $4 an hour. How do you compete with that?
Can't. Not
You
here.
can't. Cost on cost, you can't. You have to have something else that they don't know about, or they can't do, or they don't have expertise to do. So you absolutely have to keep the expertise in-house. That's number one, right? Your core team has to have the expertise of what you do in-house. And everything else is outsourceable, right? Either a mundane task, stare and compare, typing, that's all outsourceable. Those functions should never be done by your core team. Your core team should have fun, right? So the people in your team, full-time employees, are people that are having fun at your job. They have all the expertise, and you will never lose them. We talked about COVID, right? You didn't let anybody go. I never let anybody go. Why? Because for me, it's important to maintain the expertise in-house rather than losing and retraining. It takes me 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
It takes me 6 months to train somebody new.
Let's get into this because you love marketing. I mean, you went and taught yourself AdWords yourself. You understand Google Analytics. I'm a digital marketer by trade, right? Yeah, I think that's what
You're
helped
an
me.
expert. You're the pro.
I think it's what helped me build so many companies so fast and
Yeah.
scale. But why did you find it, and why do you think so many people in business, whether you're in banking, finance, right? You still said, I'm going to go learn marketing. Can you tell the viewers why marketing, if it's important in your business, it's
Yeah.
definitely important in every other business. Can you explain why?
Yeah, I think I have to tell the whole story
Yeah.
because that's going to become very confusing. When I started my business, I had a few friends that didn't have a full-time jobs and they had their own businesses. And when they disclosed to me the amount of money that they were making, while I thought with my full-time job, and I think I was making $125,000, I was the king of the world, I was making so much money. How much do you make? $3 million? Now, how does that make sense? I went to Temple with my bachelor's, Lehigh with my master's. I invested so much time. I have 10 patents, I wrote articles, books, presented in the colleges. How much you making? So that didn't make any sense to me. So why
But if
did
you
I
work harder, you can get a better job.
Yeah, well, that's what we were taught, right? My parents taught me, and especially in my culture, Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, the culture was you never want to stand out. Be average. Don't jump ahead of yourself. Be average. That's the culture, right? And it took some time to break it. And when I came home to complain to my wife, I said, listen, I'm so depressed. I invested 5 years of my time. And the kid that's younger than me didn't go to college, and he makes $3 million on a crappy business online. What am I doing wrong? She says, you're a smart guy. I'll cover you with a first kid. You do what you think will sell. Oh, after this, I started to build a site. I had a friend who helped me out, so that's a skill set I didn't have. The guy built my website. Then I started to learn Google advertising, and very first sale came from Google. So I said, oh, that's interesting. So this is something that I wanted to invest myself in. And I think I owed to my kid at that time, I have 3 kids now, and my wife, to figure out what am I doing wrong. So I invested myself 100%, days, nights, in learning what it is. Tell the truth, it's a lot of BS, right? Google changes algorithm, keywords. Google makes money, not you. You lose money.
A lot of
right?
people, I think the stats like 70% of all money invested online gets no ROI.
Yeah.
That's an outrageous stat.
Yeah, and I learned it very quickly. But it showed me that I can bring a lot of money very fast, right? On a commodity product. And then you hit a point in the business where, you hire first person, second person, you become free. You say, oh, I have a little bit of more time. What do I do? And I still have a full-time job. So I did things at night with coffee and during the day with my full-time job. And there was a threshold where I said, well, I can probably make, $60, $70, $80,000 with my business while I was still making 125 at the full-time job. I said, I think I see the growth and potential. Let me quit the full-time job and focus on the business. Now, at that time, I invested, like you said, everything, all my effort into learning Google AdWords. Only to understand that I'm starting to hit the ceiling for this specific commodity product. It doesn't have to be anything, right?
Yeah.
I was selling title reports, right? Somebody's selling, napkins, pencils. Doesn't matter what you sell. You hit a point where there's a ceiling, glass ceiling you can't get through. That's your max amount of, market that you can address, and that's the max amount of revenue you can get. You're in first position, you do SEOs, and then there was a breakthrough in the business by understanding that online is only a small part of what you do. Offline is where the money is. And offline means, conferences, speaking arrangements, interviews, knocking at the doors of clients, big hedge funds on Wall Street, talking to governments, getting yourself known as an expert. And as a president, when we started our conversation, I gave you a book.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I wrote a book not because, I have to, grow a tree, raise a child. No. The book is a marketing tool. Why? It's a proof that you're an expert. So once you write a book, it has to be about something that you do, you're expert in, and you get the recognition. And believe it or not, people read my book that I didn't even expect. They use it as a learning material. At the conferences I come up, to people, oh, I read your book. Really? Yeah. But you're a guy at the Goldman Sachs, or you're a guy at Bank of America. Yeah, it's great material. Now we give that book to everybody who starts in our company. Great. So now I don't have to spend marketing dollars. They have my book, they know my name, they know my company, and now I have a word of mouth, and I have a big companies calling me, Alex, how do I do this? Right? So all of a sudden, you realize that multiplier, we talked about multipliers in the business. So the revenue doesn't come from online business. And I would say that online business in Google is a starting point for any business, any.
I
Why?
agree with you on that.
Because you're competing against big companies and you're one-person show, right? One-man show versus, I don't know, somebody, the biggest names in the industry. They have a budget, they spend it on Google, and you're competing against them. People don't know that you're small. People don't know that you're a one-man show or two-man show and you're competing against two companies. They don't. But when you start going out to the conferences, now it clicks. You have to represent yourself. Always represent yourself as somebody who is bigger than you are. Why? Because it drives the business volume, right? They trust you can handle more orders. And this is my famous story on how I started to work with the FDIC. When the great financial crisis happened in 2008, FDIC wanted all the title research companies working on the failed banks. All of them. First American, huge company, multi-billion. Stewart, multi-billion. 5 more, and me. I was, I just had 3 full-time employees at that time, right? And then it's full hustle to line up teams, contractors, to fulfill the gaps, right? And that was such a rush. That's what I love about it. It's, you think something is unachievable, unrealistic, right? When somebody comes in and says, Lance, I want you to fix 1,000 roofs in a week. Can you do it? You'll probably say no to yourself.
I'll get it done.
I'll get it done. Perfect.
I'm going to get it done. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you got to get it done. And listen, you'll figure out a way to get it done.
Yes.
There's a solution for every problem. It's a matter, are you the solution finder?
Exactly. How do you put the pieces together, Lego blocks together, to find a solution for the client?
Absolutely.
That's how I approach the business. The biggest rush I have is realizing where I was when I was a full-time employee to where I am right now, talking to some of the largest institutions like Blackstone, BlackRock, JP Morgan, and Chase, and they know me, they know my business models, they know my product, and I'm competing against some of the largest names in the industry today.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
You build everything from the ground up. You're self-made,
Right.
which I think everybody can respect, right? Or any self-made person can respect another self-made person. Talk to me about your failures, because you had to have failures. No bullshit. Like, people want to be, everything I hit's the Midas touch. Now, if you're truly successful, you've had failures. Can you tell the people about that?
I have so many of them, just like you. Let's see. So when I started the business, the original idea was I wanted to be at the footsteps of the courthouse during the foreclosure crisis, handing out free title reports to the investors, and then hoping that next time they'll buy my report, and give me some money. I was completely wrong. They came there looking at me and like, who the heck are you? Some schmuck with a bunch of papers? I already had my due diligence done a week ago. I'm not going to buy anything from you at the time of the auction. I already did my diligence. Take a week for me just to look at all the papers and find out what's going on with the house. That was one big lesson. Say, well, this is probably not the right segment that I want to sell to. But the idea was, hey, I'll have a guy going for every auction and having a stack of papers and selling them, right? Just like, burgers.
Yeah.
Didn't work. But it taught me a lesson. All right, so probably this is not a volume opportunity. Let's look for something else. The other one was I was terrible with partners. I had 2 other businesses fail before this one succeeded. The first one, the first business was interesting. It was the home inspection business. At the time of the boom of real estate in 2006, I had an inspector that was afraid to climb the roof and inspect the roof. And everybody complained about it, and he was never getting repetitive business. He was always late. I hated it. I said, listen, I can't stand you because I do everything on the background. I even passed a bunch of exams for him, certificates. And you're afraid to climb the roof, and people are just complaining that you're always late or you're doing this or doing that. That was a horrible experience. I said, okay, I have to pick the right person, right? Even though he had the skills, the ethics was wrong.
Okay.
Then I had a business with the federal judge in Arizona. And this guy, and I can, probably somebody will write me a lot of hate mails. His wife passed away and he brought his lover to run the business. It was bizarre to me. It's like, I went to the business with you, and instead of you, you're putting somebody who I don't even know that has some sort of a love relationship with you. I can deal with this. It's like I'm going for one thing and I'm getting another. It's didn't work out. And the third one was a guy that actually it's best model. He now lives in Dominican Republic, but very, very successful, multimillionaires. He was a part of the sale of SEMrush to Google.
Okay.
He was in Xiamen Interplex. He had different businesses, 17 or 20 businesses, and he would put relative to run each business, and he would collect 30% of the revenue. Best model. He doesn't do anything. Hands-free, clean business. And I said, all right, so he knows what he's doing. I'll become a partner with him. We started the business, and he realized that that business didn't bring enough money. He just turned off like that. And I'm stuck with the business, but it was a great experience. That business was about website building, auction platforms, and online advertising. Right off the bat, yes, it failed, but it gave me so much
was
knowledge.
knowledge.
Absolutely.
I know Marina over there very well. I see
Yeah.
Rush. I don't know if she's still there or not.
Yeah, I know those guys too.
yeah.
I think they moved to Boston. But, yeah.
You know, it's funny because you talk about your failures and you're proud of them. I'm proud of mine. Most people are embarrassed of them. And I'm like, the only reason you should be embarrassed if you're still doing that shit.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Let's talk about this. Your business keeps growing and you keep growing. You got a 19-year-old son, right, who I got to meet, right? And when I do speak at colleges, they always ask me to come and speak about business, which I do appreciate. But I have a different message about college. And I love the professors. I think, you know, it's great. Do you think a lot of kids in college that are going for business struggle or are going to struggle when they get into the real world and find out what real business is like? Because business is nothing like the damn textbook they're teaching.
Yeah. I think colleges are, I don't want to say a waste of time. That's your opinion. But it's definitely not too.
When I say a waste of time, if you're not going for the right reasons and going through the process.
Yeah.
I don't believe your micro and macro economics book, you need to do 3 months of bullshit when someone can teach you in 2 days that inside and out to your business.
I agree with that. I think college, I look back, and my 19-year-old is asking me, Dad, you look back, what's your regrets? Do you regret that you went for the corporate world, you worked for AT&T Bell Labs, Lucent Technologies, Intel, and you just wasted so much time because you started late on your business, right? And I keep telling him, it was not a waste. I still needed to learn a corporate world, how it works, how it operates, because now I'm attacking it from the service provider perspective.
Absolutely.
Right. So it had some experience. Do I regret that it took me 10 years? Probably. Could I have learned it in a year? Sure. Did I have the right friends, entrepreneurs that would show me the way, or at least get my mind thinking, to have that short circuit effect in your mind to say, holy shit, I'm not going the right way, right? So it's a break. I look at, it's a quick story. While working at AT&T Bell Labs, one of the managers I had, he was a family man, Indian family man, and I said, listen, let's go buy properties, let's go buy this mixed use and store in this. And we get to the home that we're planning to buy. I turn the faucets, I look, does it leak? The toilet flushes, okay, all that. He looks at me and says, Alex, I have one regret in my life. And he was 60 years old. He says, I wish I would be like you before I would have kids. Kids stole my life, and I couldn't pull the trigger to quit my full-time job. And now, 30 years later, I look at you and you have so much energy. You want to do this. I don't have that energy anymore. I'm drained, completely drained. I'm passive.
Because you went and built someone else's dream and gave up his. Of course you're going to be depressed. I mean, think about that. He built someone else's dream and gave up on his.
So when you look at college kids, and when they go through a 4-year, 6-year degrees, they go to corporate career, I don't want them to wake up 30 years later regretting.
My kids will go to college. That's a myth. Or they should. I'll tell them. Not because I believe in college. I want one of my kids to get an international business degree. I regret not getting that, truthfully.
Yeah.
I think it's a strong degree to have, to understand, not the degree, but do the internships, right? Do all 4 years internship for international business. I think it's going to help you drastically. I want one of my kids to become a lawyer because lawyers are fucking expensive, right? They just are. Like
They're your best friends, though.
they are, but they're expensive.
Yeah.
I call them an investment now because at $1,000 an hour, it gets very expensive. Number three, I hope one of my kids go on to be a CPA. Right, they're the core things that will drive businesses to grow. Right, in my opinion. Right.
A good CPA, a guy that has an art of CPA, not
Correct.
just a guy that files the
Yeah, not
the
a bean
taxes.
counter. Not a
Yeah,
bean
yeah.
counter. What do you think you would tell kids, right? Because home services, as you can see, is making a ton of people millionaires, right?
Yeah.
I think home services probably, I'm not being disrespectful, more than even the finance sector because most of the guys in finance wind up working for, but tons of people in home services can own a $5 million, a $10 million business and sell it.
And that's easy. Yeah.
Yes, I don't want to use the word easy because people are going to hate us, Alex, but it's not as difficult as what
Yeah.
you do. Like you have a lot more compliance issues. Like you're dealing with government contracts, you're dealing with big business. There's so much more that goes into it than going and fixing someone's HVAC or putting a roof on or doing someone's sidings, windows, or doors, right? I mean, let's keep it real, right?
Yeah. So I think this is the right business to be in, independent on what's going on with the economy, recession, election, inflation. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for this business. Why? It involves human labor, which always can have margins and markups, right? If you represent people that are typically working in the homes, they are not quite familiar with the internet, Google, marketing. They know how to fix roofs. So you walk in there and you say, what if I guarantee that I'll bring you work every day for the rest of your life? Great. So that's the value add, right? You marry the technology and the human element to make a lot of money. And that's a huge value add for the kids that come out of college. They know how to do social media. They know how to do this, that. They're all plugged into the internet, while people that are fixing roofs, they're not.
They're not.
So there's definitely a demand for a service that you provide. And I greatly appreciate it for that. You just fill the void that's on the market. Now, in my example, I started the AI company. 40,000 startups started the AI company in 2024. 40,000 startups.
AI startups?
AI startups.
Jesus Lord.
In 2024.
Talk to me about your AI. Talk to me.
Well, let me just tell you that 95% will fail because they focus on the next big shiny thing that delivers the software dirt cheap to the end user. How do you make money without human labor? You can't. You're not Amazon. So you are delivering something that, oh, this is so cool, such a great demo. And the toughest part in business of software is to go from the very cool demo to production. This is what Elon Musk said. To go from the very cool demo that anybody can build. Probably if I give you a week, you would figure out how to build a bot, right? ChatGPT bot or something else, anybody can do it. Mm-hmm. But to make it a production worthy, okay, it'll take 2 years. But then the margins stink.
But you're losing money the whole time you're doing
Exactly.
it. So
You're investing millions of dollars to
you don't
build
realize how much
something.
Amazon lost their first few. Like they
Exactly.
lost like millions and millions. Like most people don't understand that. Like most companies of that sort have investors. They're losing money. They know the end goal. They have projections to hit.
So people need to understand that you and I are no different from the business approach. We make money on the human labor. That's where the money is, margins are, right? And just for people in college, the best advice I heard or I received from the economics professor was, I hope that you don't have to use anything you learned in our course because your margins are so great, it pays off for all the mistakes you do, right? So when we talked about, an hour ago about margins, if somebody's making 15 to 20%, that's a skinny margin. You really want to be at the 50% margin, so it doesn't matter what mistakes, what failures you do.
You mean gross profit, not net?
Right.
Yeah, gross profit.
So you have enough money to cover for all
yes,
the issues,
absolutely.
problems,
Absolutely.
Contractors, people falling, people rising, people doing whatever crazy things, getting drunk, whatever. It's a human labor. We deal with human.
If you're at 20% gross profit, you're probably going out of business.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I agree.
Last question, because I know you're busy, right? What is going to be next? Are you just going to scale these businesses? Are you going to sell them? Like, what's next? Are you going to your children, your son coming to work with you? I know he has a drywall business. Is he coming with you, or what's going on here?
Good.
What's next for you?
I'm an open book, so I don't know. I'm writing my own book. So I might sell. I might sell 2 out of 3. We're just launching next week a huge JV announcement with a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. And JV is really addressing a lot of AI for large banks, for large services, for government.
Yeah.
We're investing in blockchain. So our AI solution will be plugged into the blockchain while you're handling a lot of loans and transactions. So I'm looking at the future, and I don't have to sell. I'm like you. It's not about money for me. It's about having fun. Where we're different is you're hands-off. I'm deeply hands-on. I'm really driving the innovation. You know, deep in my heart, I'm the innovator. I'm like Elon Musk, mini Elon Musk. You know, not billions, but yeah. But I love to innovate. You know, every time I see a pain, we can build this. And people say it's impossible. I say it's possible. That's what makes me different. That's what's so fun about what I do. And I wish I would start doing it right after college, like my son does. Because, you know, it gives you that power that people believe in you.
Absolutely. Listen, thank you for coming to the farm today. I appreciate it. I enjoyed my time with you. Thank you, brother.
My pleasure.